here's what I got for you guys. A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away, there was this guy named George Lucas who was a film student at USC and wanted to make his own science fiction film based on the many sci-fi serials like Buck Rogers and stuff like that from when he was growing up. He wanted to homage these films in his own world. And he developed this world, this galaxy featuring monsters and aliens and empires and rebellions and everything. And originally it was called the Star Wars. It then took different shape as Star Wars and, became what we know, but it was originally a very different animal. And we see some of these concepts conceived by artist Ralph McQuarrie in a lot of the original concept art of Lucas's original ideas. But to really get invested within this world, as it were, the original conceit of Star Wars that George Lucas had in mind, you look no further than the Dark Horse published The Star Wars.
Mm.
See what we got here?
Wow, look at that. That's pristine right there.
It's beautiful. I'm gonna add an image
You
so
can
everyone
barely
can
see
see
it
a
because of the
clean one.
glare.
Exactly, which is why I'm going to add the image currently right here. And this is a beautiful cover. I know the glare is still kind of, but you can see a little bit better.
Oh,
Um,
totally.
it is a beautiful, beautiful book. Um, so this is based once again off the original ideas and original scripts of George Lucas for Star Wars. This is a very different story with characters with names that are very familiar to the Star Wars mythos, but in completely
Star
different
Killer.
contexts. Yeah, I mean, Anakin Starkiller is the young kind of guy who's like a king and shit. We got his mentor Luke Skywalker up here, who's kind of modeled after George Lucas, actually. Han Solo in this is based on like a swamp thing kind of creature, a monster. But and there are a lot of like hybrid kind of characters. Like Han Solo is a mix between, another kind of bounty hunter type of character within this and everything.
Oh
And
yeah,
we see,
Bosk or
I think it's Vosk, but this is what it says. So the script is
Tradoshans.
the script is
Trandoshan
written by
scum.
you son of a bitch, you green bastard. The script is written by J.W. Rinsler, the arts by Mike Mayhew, and the colors Rain Barreto. This is a really, I mean, looking at this, they're really going for that Ralph McQuarrie art style, which you can kind of see, but again, right
Yeah.
there. And
I would love
I
to take a
really
read one of these days.
absolutely. I mean, I'm being very careful just holding this because
Oh no, yeah.
I do not want to damage this. Is from Lucas Books, probably just like the books you brought on and everything. And it's based on George Lucas's original rough draft screenplay, which means the story is kind of convoluted and it's more interested in mythos rather than you know pure emotion and following a single character.
Hmm.
But to give you a little bit of backstory, everybody, including you, Brian, I'm going to read what it says at the beginning, the foreword, as it were. The Star Wars. Back in 1974, still years before a film called Star Wars would take the world by storm, George Lucas completed the first rough draft screenplay of what was then called The Star Wars. The original screenplay contains all of the now familiar elements of Star Wars: an evil empire, a young would-be Jedi, an older Jedi Knight who mentors the boy, a princess in need of rescue, even a father who is more machine than man, but put together in ways far different from what you've seen on the screen. For nearly 4 decades, George Lucas's original vision of the galaxy far, far away existed only as what might have been. And I mean, come on. This is, and it opens up. What's really cool, Brian, it opens up with the crawl as well.
Oh wow.
Yes.
Look at
I
that.
need you to
That's
do the
amazing.
music behind it. I'm gonna read it. I need you to do some music behind it.
All right, you ready?
Yep.
Da, 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 da,
Until the recent Great
da, da, da,
Rebellion. Wait, hold on. Let me try it
da.
again. Fuck.
Da, 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 da,
Until the recent Great
da, da,
Rebellion,
da, da,
the
da,
Jedi Bendu
da,
were
da,
the
da,
most feared
da,
warriors in the
da,
universe.
da,
For
da, da,
100,000 years, generations of Jedi perfected their
da,
art as the personal bodyguards of the
da,
Emperor.
da,
They were the
da,
chief
da,
architects of the invincible Imperial Space Force, which expanded the Empire across the galaxy from the celestial equator to the farthest reaches of the Great Rift. Now, these legendary warriors are all but extinct, one by one. They've been hunted down and destroyed as enemies of the new empire by a ferocious and sinister rival warrior sect, the Knights of Sith. Yeah, they got some crazy artwork in this that you're going to
Hey,
appreciate,
let
Brian.
me see one of these artworks. I want to see a cool scene. Is this Seth? Show me. Oh wow, look at that! Killed a kid.
Yeah. And what's crazy is that like there's concepts that are just kind of ordinary because I think Lucas originally wanted to create a world that felt lived in. So,
Yeah.
for example, the Jedi are the Jedi bent through and everything. Lightsabers are kind of a common weapon and stuff. Um, the Jedi aren't necessarily force oriented. They're just very skilled warriors. And the
Mm,
force is more of like a concept rather than a power, you know?
gotcha.
The Darth Vader character, he's not even masked up. He looks like just a dictator. You know, he has a very similar outfit on and everything, but he's the most disfigured he is like a slight scar, a red, bloodied eye and everything. You know, they go to a planet filled with Wookiees, a la Return of the Jedi and the Ewoks, you know, and the holiday special. Um, but essentially the value in this book is not really, in my opinion, it's not really the story, it's the art and the kind of what if nature of it, you know, the
So this
fact.
is like the story sucks. I've written
Well,
better.
I'm not too engaged, and I don't even think it's necessarily because the story sucks, but I think it's because we're all so ingrained with Star Wars, you know,
Yeah,
just of
so
what
it's kind
it
of
is.
hard
It's
to
hard.
put
Yeah,
in. Yeah,
it's hard to separate your automatic feelings from what it is to this. You know, this is just
exactly.
more of
Yeah,
a fun kind of deal. The art is incredible in this book. This
exactly.
this
Yeah.
is number one issue. And yeah, I mean, this is what every Star Wars fan I think should read at some point because it is like
Mm.
it kind of makes you appreciate what we currently
What we
have,
currently
even
have. Yeah,
yeah, even if we
even
don't
the
always
acolyte.
agree. Well, the acolyte, you know, but you don't have to worry about that anymore, Brian.
No, no.
You
Honestly,
know,
I'm kind of disappointed. A little.
about the acolytes cancellation.
Yeah, honestly, I would have watched season two. It's
Y-
is it bad? Yeah, but is it as bad as people were explaining? No.
Would I have watched season two? I didn't even finish season one, so I don't, I, I don't even know
Fair,
how I could
fair,
watch
fair
season
enough.
two. Um, but yeah, I really wish that Star Wars as a brand would go more into, and I'm curious what you think, and I'm sure you'd
Yeah, of
agree,
course.
but
Within
I
the
would
what if?
love the what if realm. You know,
Yeah,
Marvel and DC have made like their trade in
and within the
it doesn't
what
have
if.
to be about the multiverse, but it's about world stories in different worlds that are separate from everything,
Mhm.
you know, that just go in a different direction that can be really
Honestly, I feel like
unique.
Star Wars has kind of already dabbed into that, with both Visions. Visions is very, like, I don't even think it's canonized. I think it's just different animation studios under the premise of Star Wars create something under that. And I also, I mean, even the smaller projects, like the projects that people don't really assume that are delving into that, like the Lego Star Wars parts. I love those. I mean, they
Uh-huh.
just dropped a new movie yesterday. I think I mean, a whole part. It's called the Galaxy of something, and it's looking at like if Jar Jar Binks was a Sith,
Right,
So
right,
it's
yeah.
very much like I think Star Wars is slowly getting to that level. I would say DC and Marvel has definitely popularized the what if part of their whole series, and even with DC has I mean, the Justice League versus the Crime Syndicate, something as simple as that. It's not
Yeah.
really a what if, that's more or less on the parallel, but that works within the story. So I think if Star Wars did do a little bit more popularizing what if scenarios within Star Wars. I definitely don't think there should be a what if series in Star Wars. I definitely think that there should be a separate lineage of Star Wars characters or maybe Star Wars events that are separate from within the main universe. You know, like for instance,
Yeah,
on like for instance, like something as simple as maybe even looking at like the Mon Cala or something like that, or like any alien race, maybe outside or before the events of the Empire or before the events of the Republic, just to kind of get a little like, oh, this is the aliens universe, you know? Like for instance, Star Wars did like a documentary called Star Wars Biomes, and that was kind of like a little overhead shot on like Hoth and a bunch of on Jakku, Tatooine, and a bunch of planets that have been like in the Star Wars universe and just looking in their environments. It'd be cool if we looked at that, but the alien races or planets, you know?
yeah, no, that's a good point. How like what's funny is that we're so stuck up on the Skywalker kind of saga that looking at other worlds or other time periods or whatever during whatever events of the main story, it's like equivalent to what if. You know, like for example, we did a narrative podcast called Star Wars Lightspeed, which is really fun, really cool, and
It was
everything.
amazing.
Plug, but
Go check it out.
it's it's very separate from everything to where it feels like a very different kind of world. And that's kind of the
The
fun aspect of
chosen
it. But
one.
but I would still be down if they did do, just like alternate stories because then you can have fun with it. It's like with Marvel Zombies, where in Marvel Zombies, anything can kind of happen and there can be any kind of pair ups you want of different characters because it's an apocalypse, and if Star Wars went into it's hard to conceive right now just because Star Wars has been such a
Yeah.
a,
And I
a,
was gonna
s-
say,
a
even
strictly one thing,
even
but it
Mandalorian
would be
kind of
cool.
did a little bit of that, you know? It definitely fit along that whole like separate universe, even after kind of the events of the Empire. Until when it got into season two, then it kind of like went into a little bit with
Absolutely.
involving a lot of like pirate characters like Bo Katan or Sakatano and even Luke, you know?
There are plenty of options in the whole world. Like it could be comic books, books. I would be really interested if it were films as well, where it's just like different. Like for example, we have Joker out there.
Mhm.
We also have the Batman, both dealing with the same characters, same type of world and everything, but completely different visions, completely different tones and everything. I'm very interested in how if Star Wars were if Disney were interested in approaching Star Wars in that way, I'm very curious what it would look like. You know, if whether you have a movie about Luke being a bad guy completely, going full on Dark Empire, you know,
Mhm.
and in that case, you could get someone like Sebastian Stan to play that character because
Mhm. Totally.
like all these fan casts of like, we need Sebastian Stan to play a young Luke Skywalker. Well, they're not going to do that for the main fucking timeline. They could do that for a movie that's set in its own world or in its
Oh
own
yeah.
galaxy, rather.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'd be really down with that.
Mhm. Or even I know that there was talk about doing Old Republic stuff, you know, for movies and stuff.
Yeah,
And while we did see a little bit of the Old Republic within, well, the High Republic, I would say, within
in the
the
Acolyte.
Acolyte, yeah. I would definitely, I mean, the one thing that I definitely enjoyed about the High Republic and representation in the Acolyte is looking at how well they designed a lot of their characters based off of the Old Republic stuff and a lot of the prior stuff within the video games. You know, it's very much like, oh, this is cool because this is something I grew up by playing KOTOR, you know, or playing Old Republic. But then with the story, obviously a bit different. But just the design, it definitely feels more, even with the droids, you know, something as basic as them not being even um, like being able to walk on their own and having to need chargers or battery packs or need to be fixed into machinery in order to operate, you know? It would be cool. And I know that people are talking about having Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan, so that'd be cool to have, you know?
Hey, if he can play Shadow, he can play Revan. All right.
Oh yeah, he definitely can.
He's Shadow.
He is. He's Shadow. He's close to it, you know?
It's in the name, Jules.
It's in the name.
Keanu Reeves has to be in Star Wars at some point before I
Hey,
die.
I never would imagine Keanu Reeves as Darth Revan, but I mean, I'll take it. You know, I mean,
You want it.
the fan art of it looks pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. You know, some of it is pretty great.
Yeah. I love it. I love him as Darth Revan.
I mean, I'll
The
take it. You know,
hum.
hey, I've been asking for Darth Revan for a long time. You know,
And I hope, for your sake, you do not get it.
I hope for the fans, I hope for the true fans out there that we get Darth Revan.
Oh, you're gonna
Um,
pull that shit, huh?
what is this? What's happening? What's happening? What am I watching?
Edit these nuts.
Yes, the
You know,
true
I'll
fans.
play Darth Revan.
You know, I'll take that. I'll take that. As long as we get Darth Revan, I'll take anything.
I'll play Darth Revan and I'll look into the camera and I'll say, fuck Brian.
She'll look to the camera and be like, "I committed to Star Wars."
I love Star Wars now. This is a real Star War you got here.
This is man. It seems like we're gonna have to have a new hope.
I know. Oh,
It
the
seems
Sith are
somehow
attacking.
that there's a return of the Jedi.
Look, the Empire is striking back.
Look, it's the Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, I sound like Solomon now. We're gonna make a movie, and in the movie, you're gonna say, "Oh, hey, there's some sort of phantom menace haunting me."
You're gonna look in the film, and then you're gonna say, "It seems that somehow Palpatine returned."
They fly now. They fly now.
They fly now. Two words of
Like a bantha, Brian.
John Bodega. But yeah, it's they've always flown since the Clone Wars.
Bullshit. No, they didn't.
Mandalorians.
You're talking about clones, not stormtroopers, bitch. I thought you were a Star Wars fan. I thought you cared. Look at you with your name above your head in case you forget while touching yourself who you are and what you're thinking about. All right. Well, that was great. Brian, thank you so much.
Here's the real question. When are they gonna make a Jedi Survivor movie? You know?
I know when they're going to, but I'm not going to tell you. I have an insider.
I'm an insider. Here's my insider trading. It will happen in the galaxy far, far away.
I needed Cal Kestis movie ASAP. My boy, Cal Kestis.
With Marin, Goth Marin, you know? That's my real
Well,
question.
Brian, anyway, aside from your horniness, thank you so much for joining us on We Tolerate Comics. It was a lot of fun. Yeah, hide, you whore. Anyway, thank you, Brian. I'm excited. Everybody get excited for the Star Wars centric podcast. Who knows when it's going to be there?
You're going to be wearing this all.